Wale Adediran is an HR executive, registered engineer, corporate executive, HR and engineering thought leader with over 30 years experience. First as a well-rounded engineer with practice in manufacturing operations, reliability engineering, maintenance, storeroom and project management, then later in organization excellence, personnel and HR management. Wale has enjoyed a highly successful career in both HR and engineering. Well trained and certified in both, including project costing, quality assurance and health, safety and environment, he has led the manufacturing operations of a multinational company as well as the HR functions of several multinational companies. In the last 16 years plus, he has been in executive roles of major businesses as the HR lead and member of the country, business leadership, as well as regional or global functional leadership teams. He has received recognition in the professional institutions for both HR and engineering, both locally and internationally. He has also served in leadership roles for the HR Professional Institute as member and chairman of council committees over many years. Also as a two-term vice president and subsequently as a two-term president and chairman of the governing of the institute. He is currently serving as immediate past president of the institute and group HR and General Services Director of Flour Mills Nigeria PLC. He has enjoyed speaking opportunities on HR and engineering subjects within and outside Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make welcome Wale Adediran.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, let me use it. But is the voice clear enough for you to follow what I'm saying? Well, God bless you. So, my slides, please. I have very limited time, and hopefully, by the time we are done, you will achieve two things. One, out of the conversation we are having, you will understand how you can find a job. That's if you don't have a job. And if you already have a job, you will understand how you can switch your career to what you prefer that it should be. So, I'm looking for where the laptop is. Upstairs here. Yeah. It's there, okay. Okay, thank you. So, and I'll be speaking on these 3 bullet points. First, I want to assure you that there is job in Nigeria. There are applicants that do not find jobs, but there are jobs, a lot of them that do not find applicants. Isn't that a paradox? So we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about why. How many of you have some work experience here? If you have some work experience, raise your hand. Thank you. Put it down. If you don't have work experience at all so far, can you raise your hand? You just finished from school, or you finished but you've been looking for a job, no job. Okay, don't worry. By the end of today's program, believe me, in the next 2-3 months, you will find a job. It's not just a prayer, it's an assertion. The only reason you may not find it that quickly is if you don't listen to me. And I know you will listen to me. I rebuke every spirit that won't want you to listen. So the second bullet point is you can create your own job, not entrepreneurship, don't get me wrong. And I will go into that. I'm talking of you will create a job that an employer will employ you into. It sounds like impossible, Abi. We will talk about it. It is possible. You can create, they talk about talent pool, talent pool. You can create a pool for yourself. And you may be the only talent in that pool. We'll talk about that. And last but not the least, you can chart your own career path. I work in HR today, but I wasn't trained to be an HR person originally. I have first degree in engineering. I have second degree in engineering, BSc, master's in mechanical engineering for that matter. Nothing to do with social science. But today, by the grace of God, it is what it is. So let's quickly go to the first one, the paradox that I talked about. Remember, I said there are many applicants that will not find job, but there are also many jobs that could not find applicants. It's a paradox. It's like the skill pyramid and the opportunity pyramid, the job pyramid, has one turn on its head. In other words, whereas you have a lot of applicants with little or no skill, there are only very few jobs that require such applicants. Are you following me? And there you have people like Princess Adediran, who has retired as a permanent secretary from Lagos State government. Even in retirement, jobs are still chasing her. Do you agree with me? Do you understand the paradox I'm talking about? So, and by the time you go to the middle, you seem to have some kind of balance. You know, those are people that are supervisors or middle-level managers, as we call them. They are the ones that can choose from one job to another. They keep hopping around. You meet them 2 years ago, they are working with Wema Bank. And you meet them this year, they're already in GT Bank. What makes the difference between the bottom of the pyramid and the top of the pyramid? I want you to give me an answer. Is it experience? It is skill. And let me add one more thing to that skill. It is also the character. What did I say? I'm happy that my president spoke about character in his presentation. So he laid a very solid foundation. And he emphasized one particular character, which is which is the mother of integrity. Because it's lack of self-control that will make an employee that is given an imprest of 100,000 naira to execute an assignment, who now spent only 65,000 to take the remaining 35,000 and make up receipts for it. It's lack of self-control. So it is the difference. What makes the difference between the bottom and the top of the pyramid is what? Skill. And I'm going to give you stories, you know, no time, yes, but I think you should hear some stories. I'm already about 9 years where I am, 3 years before then, that makes 12. So had another 5, 17. 17 years ago, there was a young man who worked in a company where I worked. I was the HR director for Frigoglass Group, the Nigerian operations then. And the young man was working as a what we call third party, but labor unions, we call it casual, as a casual worker in one of our regional glass factories. That young man today, by the grace of God, is a middle-level manager, if not even a senior manager already, because it's some long time ago. But before I left, he was already a manager. And let me tell you how it happened. No degree. But as a third-party worker, very diligent, disciplined, integrity. Talk about the character blocks. It ticks the checklist. But beyond that character, he had a skill for using the Excel, the Microsoft Excel application very well. So we go to his shift manager and tell him, we can modify our shift report like this and show it graphically. And the shift manager became popular because he always makes a very good presentation compared to other shifts. The manager noticed that. and commanded all the other shifts to replicate. The gentleman became popular. He replicated for them. Then we went on, whenever we have the global head office visit town, we'll go around the glass factories for business reviews. And we're having business review in the factory, and that's skill. And while they were making their presentation, the matter of the young man was mentioned. And my managing director then said, I would like to have the guy in the head office to be preparing our reports. Bottom line. In fact, as HR director, I felt embarrassed, the kind of offer they asked me to make. Because it's like, wait, even though we want to encourage skill, but we have to be careful so we don't send the wrong message. And the young man too took advantage of it. He asked for all the asks. And he came over and he helped the company to develop a performance tracking report that transformed the productivity of the MD and the other HESCOs. Things that we would have done through finance, they would do all their cost analysis and the rest of it before we know what to price a glassware. The guy has standard macros and templates for everything. And he created his own career. In fact, there was no designation for his role. We didn't know whether to call him chief of staff to the MD or chief analyst or whatever. It's not about the title. He was getting fantastic pay. To the extent that when eventually he was tired of the position and he wanted to now go into a core area to consolidate his career, because he used the opportunity to also acquire some certificates. He had to recommend his own friend from the same village where we took him from to come and take over the job. Of course, HR was trying to train other people. But there is a difference between someone that has passion for something and went out to acquire the skill, and those who do not have that passion. And we just identify to say, oh, this person too can learn the skill, and the business needs the skill. Ordinary Microsoft Excel. The difference is what? Skill. The guy was at the bottom of the pyramid. Yeah. But because of the skill, he got catapulted there. I look at our young people. The time some of us invest in social media, in entertainment, if we invest it in development of skills, somebody will notice you. You will create your own career path. I will give you another story, another example. I went to participate in a program on Sunday at the Redeemed Evangelical Ministry at Bagada. I was invited it was like a career session like this, but it was during Sunday service. The bishop invited me through my good friend that works there and that serves there, office work. And at the end of the session, a young man came to meet me. And he introduced himself. And I couldn't remember anything other than the name. He gave me his number, so I saved it. Let's say his name is Peter. I said, Peter Trem. Then I got to the office. One of our HR managers for one of our subsidiary businesses approached me and said, sir, I learned that you met this person at Trem. I said, yes, I did. He said, the guy is very good with coding. Lo and behold, that was the time I was looking for someone that will work with me to develop our enterprise resource platform for managing HR processes. I could do some coding too. I code in Python, but I'm still at the low skill level in that regard. So she told me, oh, he helped us to develop for my previous workplace. The other young man I've been working with for more than 2 years as at that time was beginning to be shaky. I told her to invite the guy. He invited the gentleman. The man, within, well, the first 1 year, developed a very good platform that we use to manage our performance management system. He transformed it. The previous system would typically take you 10 times the time that the new platform takes for you to complete the task. That was how he got himself shot into limelight. Well, because he's still active in service, I don't want to speak too much about him. But let me tell you, he doesn't have a university degree. Hello? You gather your BSc, MSc, they are good, don't get me wrong. But you need to add 2 things to those. One is your character. Be active about evaluating yourself. Be careful the way you use those platforms that tell who you are without your knowing it. Social media platforms. When we recruit these days, we don't even bother to concentrate too much on LinkedIn anymore. Instagram gives away who you are easily. Twitter does it even better. I know most of you are not on Facebook anymore. You've left that platform for oldies like us. So be careful. Your TikTok tells a lot about who you are. Character. Like I told you earlier, yes, there are many applicants that could not find jobs, but there are many jobs that could also not find applicants. Had 2 things, character and skill. I'm not talking about tailoring or all those, whatever you call it, fashion designing. They're okay. I learned tailoring too. I learned from 3 different masters in the trade. My dad was the first teacher I had in tailoring, but he could only do the basics. Then I learned from the man that sewed my wedding dress. And last but not the least, I learned from the man that taught me to sew children's shirts and short knickers. Because I had business ideas on my head that I needed, not that I would be sewing, but I needed the knowledge to manage that I would be sewing for me. But I didn't have money to throw into the idea as at that time. And I didn't have enough reputation to attract investment into the idea. But all of those things will begin to happen now. Because I want to do like Princess Adediran. I want to retire early. You need to add those 2. If you do, it will open door for you. And I can go on and give you more and more stories. Look, my PA, when I joined Flour Mills, had only school certificates as certificates, not education, because I know the guy had acquired more education but without certificates. Every time you interact, the quality of people you interact with determines the quality of education you acquire. So when I joined the business, I told him, I don't keep PA. That seat of PA in my office is a transit point for those who want to advance their careers. You cannot be my PA for long. You develop yourself and become a HR manager. That's the only way. The PA I had in Frigoglass is HR manager for one of the subsidiaries there now, and so on and so forth. So I told the gentleman, I said, first thing, you have to enroll for a program in Unilag, a diploma program that their HR department runs. Let me cut the long story short. Because he has the character and he started learning the skills, Excel, diploma in HR education. Today, he's working as an expatriate somewhere in the Middle East. Before he left, he was already a rewards expert in our rewards team. And as an expatriate, he's working as a senior rewards officer for that business, supervising other people in the reward team. The point I'm making is this. Why we have people with so many degrees complain about not finding jobs? We have people that do not even have degrees who find jobs for two reasons. One, they've added skill and character to whatever they have as certificates. And two, they associate with the right network. To God be the glory. I'm not taking credit for anything, but I believe God used me as a mouthpiece to challenge those who work for me as PA to say, you can be better than this. But they are the ones that receive the word and allow the seed to germinate. If it fell on a hard ground, it will not produce results. So, think of this pyramid and think of where you are. And think of what you need to do about it. It's within your control. You know, people say, oh, it's man knows man. If I know somebody somewhere, well, maybe it used to be like that. But that was in those days when the economy was boom and there was free money. A managing director that's not performing now will be fired quickly. And before he gets fired, he will fire his own executives who are not performing. And the executives that want to perform will not do man knows man. In those days, we will say, oh, some people are dead wood, meaning they are probably political recommendations. And because you don't want to be in bad books, you take some of them. But you know they are not really adding much value. You sideline them. And you know your core team. But even that is a luxury today. No business will do that now. So what makes way and room for you is what you have to offer. In the new world of work, certificates will not count anymore. In fact, what people will be asking for is your storyboard. Come and present what you've ever done in your life. Some of you that raise your hand that you didn't have experience. If I ask you now, some of you have helped your parents to sell. That's selling skill. That's selling experience. When I was going to start learning to sell, my mom bought a carton of pig milk and put 2 dozens on a wooden tray for me to hawk. And I went around town. Everybody will price below the target that my mom gave me. And I kept turning down their offers until I met one woman who said, look, you've been going around all day. I can buy everything from you if you agree to this discounted price. I was stupid. I took a decision that I didn't have authority to take. I accepted the discounted price. And I was going home rejoicing, you know, with the wooden tray folded under my armpits. And when I got home, I was like, oh, my darling, you've done very well. You sold everything. I said, yes. It's only one customer that bought everything. I said, where's my money? She counted and recounted. What is happening? Did you lose any money on the way? I didn't, mommy. And so what happened? Then I told my story. Of course, you all know this, the results. That's why I have not forgotten the story till today. But I learned. Every encounter you have should be opportunity to hone a skill, opportunity to learn. So, wherever you are on this pyramid, you can make a change, either through further character development or skill acquisition. You have to identify what skill is important for the journey you want to make, and associating with the right network. So if you want to be HR director someday, associate with HR directors. Listen to their stories. You want to become managing director someday, associate with managing director. You want to become permanent secretary someday, associate with permanent secretaries. Look, when people talk about luck, I talk about grace. Luck, famously defined as learning until chance knocks on your door. You know, there is time and chance. May you not miss your own time. May your chance not elude you. But that's if you keep learning until chance knocks on your door. Because if you do not learn, when the chance comes, you will not be found adequate to take it. Now, and this is where I will stop. This is interesting. And my message here is, you can actually create your own pool. You know, the picture depicts a glassware where you have plenty fish. They are growing, the place is becoming choked. But one of them is daring enough to take a leap of faith and aim for a fresh ground. And him there, he will be the only one to flourish. You can create your own pool. They talk about talent. There's no one on earth, unless you are not created by God, that does not have a talent. And is there anyone that's not created by God? Look, even if you have a poor voice like that of Davido, you can become a superstar. Because that's what we used to think when we listened to Davido at the beginning. People say, what is he singing? But he persisted. Persistence. He knew what he wanted and he made it. And that voice now can no longer be calibrated as not good, because there are millions and millions of fans that have approved it. If your voice is like that of Orlando Howo, I use that video because you may not know Orlando. Because I see that most of my friends here are in the younger generation. Orlando Owomoyela was a Nigerian musician of the Yoruba extract. And when the man sings, God, I don't even know what to say. But he was persistent and he left a legacy. The point I'm trying to make, not that I'm saying those guys were not good, but is sometimes when you look at what you think is a disadvantage, you can actually turn it to an advantage. Comedy was not selling in Nigeria until Alibaba decided to make it business. And he will just come, make fun of himself, make fun of those who have asked him to be master of ceremony. And everybody will laugh. And then he started taxing them for laughing. You have a talent that is not destructive. That's the only important thing, because God does not destroy. He builds. So whatever talent he has given you is to build. You have a talent. It goes beyond your degree. See, your university degree, your polytechnic diploma, HND, they are only certifying that you have been prepared with the ability or capacity to think and relate. That's what university does. It's not my university education that made me a good mechanical engineer. I still practice engineering first 10 years of my career life. Thank God for the employer that started with me. They sent me for trainees. So if the university had been adequate, what was the reason for them sending me out of Nigeria to go and learn how to operate a machine? An engineer that cannot operate a machine, which kind of engineer be that one? But the engineering prepared me only with the ability to think and relate. And that's what your degree is about. But many of us, when we acquire the degree, we stop thinking. In our own time, when we look for a job, the way we look for a job was we'll take the Guardian on Tuesday, the Guardian on Thursday. You will see a whole page full of adverts. And then we will meticulously write foolscap sheets, application letter, make photocopies of our certificates and send through poster. And some of us will go to the gate, knock, give it to the gate man, and follow it up with prayer. May he deliver it to HR. But you have direct access to HR. What do you do with it? Some will come on LinkedIn. Hello, sir, please, I'm looking for a job. You've said nothing. I ignore it. The only thing I do is, once in a while, I will go on my timeline and post a public announcement that is not paid for, providing guidance on this, how you go about getting a job. You don't go into my inbox and write me, please, God has said you are the one that will give me a job. Well, I'll wait until God tells me to. What do you do with that access? Because your university training, your polytechnic training, your tertiary education training, college of education, even your secondary school training was to train you to think and to relate. Is that the way to relate? You can create your own pool. How do you create your own pool? This life is about, and the president made reference to that, this life is about solving problems and getting paid for solving problems. I grew up in a little village called Ibadan. And the area where I grew up is not the modern part of Ibadan. It's the inner part that has rusty roof, mud houses, and smelly gutters. And then in my primary school days, like primary 5, primary 6, because no electricity in our community, like a slum. And we had all forms of entertainment for ourselves. Sometimes those people that are masquerades, it's not masquerade season, but they will come with their drums and everything, and there will be somersaulting, acrobatic to entertain us. We'll have this kerosene lamp that will be giving light so that we can watch. Then an idea came to my head. Remember the picnic story? So the carton was useful. I cut the bottom and the front. Then I put white sheet of paper to cover the front. And I took one of those kerosene lamps. I put it at the back. The entire neighborhood was dark by 7:30 p.m. anyway. Then I made, figures with cardboard. And I stuck them onto long sticks, like puppe. And then I'll be presenting TV entertainment for everybody. Can you imagine? Even adults were watching it. Oh. They will gather. And say, this boy is talented. Oh. In Yoruba, this boy is talented. Oh. They are fighting, especially those that are grannies among them. They should separate them. They should stop fighting. Well, I did it for free for a week. I stopped doing it the following week. And you won't imagine that it's even the adults that were coming to ask me, what happened to that your entertainer? I said, my mommy said it's distracting me and it's not bringing any money anyway. I will give you money. That was the first time I started earning money. So they will give me like dash money, coins in those days. And I will entertain them. Look, there are so many things in you that you have not even scratched. If I wanted to create a career path on it at that time, I would have. And I know there are many of you that could. Don't look at the city centers only. I'm not saying don't look at them, but don't concentrate too much on the formal structure. But even in the formal structure, believe me, they have problems that they want you to help them to solve. And you have the talents to solve them. See, you have direct access to HR. What do you do with it? We don't have enough time to explore all of the things you can do. But don't waste the connections that you have. How do you waste connections? When you don't think through the message that you are putting across to a connection that you have, and you just dump anything, you've already sent a message to the other person about what kind of character you have. And the person will decide whether he or she wants to have that kind of network or not. Because iron what? So if you show me that you are wood, I am iron. And I want to be sharpened too. I want smart minds that will challenge me and tell me, you are wrong. It doesn't look right to me. I think it should be like this. I don't want victims. I don't want pity seekers. If everybody keeps saying, you see, I'm suffering, my entire family is suffering, we don't have food, and it's because I don't have job. God said you are the one that will do it. That's victim mindset. Victim mindset. It doesn't attract anything. So it's about preparation. It's about thinking and relating, leveraging the network that you have. It's about looking deep inside you and pulling out that talent. For some, it's Excel, Microsoft Excel skill. For some, it is programming and coding. For some, it's even singing. For some, it's writing poetry. Excuse me. Where did Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, where did she work to become senior manager? How many of you know Chimamanda? Where did she work? Any idea? Have you seen her CV before? What did she do? Believe me, there are dimensions of your life that you have never explored, simply because all of us are fixated on one dimension. And what's that dimension? Graduate from school, take your certificates, apply for a job, and if you don't get a job within 1 year or 2 years, it's like a person that got married and didn't have pregnancy within 1 or 2 years. Then what sets in? Frustration. And that frustration becomes visible in every encounter or relation that you step into. And when people see it, they're like, how can you help me when you can't help yourself? And helping yourself is about believing, knowing that it is possible. Believing in yourself, believing in that which God has deposited in you, and knowing that not only would you be able to find your feet around this world of applicants chasing jobs that don't exist, but you can even create for yourself, either within established organizations or within an organization that doesn't even exist, a path for yourself. God will help you as you pursue all that in Jesus' name. Now, for those of you that have careers already, you have jobs, and you are like, I don't like this job, I wish I can change. Let me just tell you, if you are not faithful in the little that you have, it will be difficult for you to get the big one that you want. Be productive in whatever you have. Always give it your best shots. It is what will open the door to the next one. That's number one. So how well you leverage the one that you are holding is key. Number two, a short mouth is a short destiny. Talk to the people that have employed you. I love this opportunity you have given me. I'm giving it my best. However, please, when there is opportunity in this particular area, I am interested. I see myself becoming this on that path. Your managers are not magicians. Those people that you see that they pick from engineering and put in HR, it's not like they dreamt or saw a vision that that person will do well in HR. It's because the person has been opening his or her mouth. Number three, when opportunity beckons, step in and help. How did I find myself in HR? The Polytechnic Ibadan students were protesting. It was a general strike or protest in the country, I think led by NLC and TUC. And Ibadan Poly students, they were having their own protest too, to support the general strike. And they came to our factory. Why did they come to our factory? One of our vehicles, official vehicles, ran into their midst and injured two of them. In those days, 504 was the official car. The name of the company written boldly on the side. So the driver escaped. Then they just diverted straight to the factory. They came to our factory. And my very good friend who had his foundational education in UK was the HR person. So he was addressing them. Hello, my good friends, you say. Anyway, cut the long story short, his diction could not get into their ears. And some of our expatriate managers wanted to step in and talk, so I stopped them. I said, no, you can't. You only aggravate the situation. They said, hey, but what do we do? They want to pull down the gate because they were shaking the gate. I said, don't worry, let me talk to them. So I went to meet them. I pulled one of the privileges that God had given me in the past, which is my membership of student union in the university, and also being an active student union officer at some point, at some levels. So I used their language, kulu temper, they calm down. They said, but no, you can't talk to us inside there, come out. So everybody was like, don't go, they will do this, they will. I said, don't worry. So I stepped out. Some of them wanted to be very violent and rude, but the other reasonable ones calmed them down. And I said, listen, guys, first of all, you have two of your mates that are injured. Let's take care of them first. We can then come back to this driver's matter and discipline him appropriately. They said, oh, you get that one talk, oh, I beg, make we agree. So I said, they should bring out one of our vehicles so we can take the two guys to the hospital. They said, no, you follow us in our bus. So they took me in their bus. We went to our retained hospital. The guys were treated. Everything became calm. I pleaded with them. They didn't go back to the factory. They left from there. But before I could get back, message had gone to our regional head office. Wale had been kidnapped. An arrangement was being made to send down the experts that will come and deal with the negotiation. But by the time, before they could do anything, I was back in the office. And that was how they said, we see a trait for you in nature. That's what switched my career. When opportunity to help presents, help. Don't say it is their job. It's none of my business. So 3 things. Deliver on what you have now. A closed mouth is what? And when opportunity presents to help, you do what? Thank you. God bless you.
To do us the honor this afternoon of making this presentation to Mr. Wale Adediran, may I humbly invite to the stage Mrs. Ifeoma Agu, FIMC, to just do on. She is also one of the speakers in this meeting, and she's the marketing manager for premium brands at Diageo PLC. Please celebrate Mrs. Agu one more time.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is literally putting me on the spot. I just got in. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on, but yeah, we'll wing it, yeah? Just a few words about Wale. Wale used to be a big boss for me while he was in Diageo. So this is an honor to be presenting to my big boss today on the stage. So to Mr. Wale Adediran, FCIPM, represented in recognition of your outstanding contribution as a resource speaker at our Career Conference 2003. Thank you.